What's up, my little tattletales? How y'all doing today? Well, if you are Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, baby, I need to go make it to their first anniversary. What am I talking about? As you know, Jennifer Lopez has been inundating the media with how happy she is, and she's wearing Ben necklaces, and it's showing up at page 6, and Mrs. Affleck, and explaining why after her umpteenth marriages, she finally took this man's last name, and she's been putting on a public display of how happy they are. But cracks are starting to show. What am I talking about? For one, even page 6 noticed, is Ben ever going to honor Jennifer Lopez? Because right now she seems to be doing the most. But more importantly than that, Jennifer and Ben are still not living together. They were looking for houses. They found a mansion. It fell through. Ben then convinced Jennifer to renovate her house that she shared with Mark Anthony, which also just happened to be 20 minutes away from where his kids live. Now, let me just take you through this quick, and then I'll get to new news. For Ben, that seemed very sweet. Like, oh my God, you're doing everything you can to make sure that your children's lives are good. The only problem was Jennifer has such horrible memories from that house with Mark Anthony. She really wanted to sell it. Also, Ben expected her to pay for all the renovations. When Jennifer finally pushed back and said, no, I don't feel comfortable doing this, and I get the fact that this is good for your children, but what about my children? Because if you don't know, Jennifer moved her children from Miami, a place they've always known as their home, all the way to LA because they were supposed to be buying a dream house with Ben, and this was their new daddy. Don't forget, Jennifer made this Father's Day post thanking Ben for being the best father possible for her children, even though they have a father. Now, I'm not going to get into Mark Anthony's capability as a father, but I will say this. If I was a child, I will feel some type of way. Second of all, you at that point had just started talking to Ben for 6 or 7 months prior. How are you the best father ever to these children that don't even know you? And there was also this weird story that everybody's assuming that Jennifer's camp planted about how Jennifer Garner, yes, Jennifer Garner and Mark Anthony were going to join Ben and Jen for the holiday so they could have it. To which I said, Jennifer Garner is super close to her family. She does not like JLO. Why would she sacrifice her Thanksgiving and Christmas to go sit over your houses? And Mark Anthony, you didn't even wish him a happy Father's Day. Why would he? And he has other children. Why would he sacrifice both his holidays to go sit up under you and Ben? Until in the article, it was like, oh, well, it's not actually set in stone. That's just what Jennifer wants. Well, guess what? There seems to be other problems in paradise because Jennifer is now making odd comments on how co-parenting with Ben and Jen, to which I'm like, what is this narrative? Because it has been put out even in JLO's feel-good stories that the number one problem they're having is the fact that the families are not blending. Jennifer keeps trying to make light of it. Oh, they're just kids. There's a lot of stuff. But even though the oldest two girls, Serafina and also Emmy get along, the other kids aren't seeing eye to eye, and everybody has their own course. Now, is this surprising? No, because you moved at record pace to actually get married without making sure the rest of the family was on board. As a matter of fact, Ben tried to make it seem like he acted like it was asked his kids for permission to marry JLO, but it actually came out in the truth, and Jennifer Garner actually confirmed it, that he had asked JLO to already marry him, move along, and then he said his kids were the first people to know after the engagement happened, but before the general public found out, which I thought was really, really weird, but it makes sense of the fact that everybody, why they probably think Jennifer is nice enough, is not really on board. Coupled with the fact that Ben, it looks like once again, is complaining to his brother and Matt Damon and his friends how Jennifer's trying to control him. When really, I have a whole Ben and Jen playlist. Go watch it if you want. I think Jennifer just remembers that Ben Affleck is a cheater, he is a liar, and he has numerous addictions. Let's not forget Nannygate, when Jennifer Garner found out that Ben Affleck was literally cheating on her with the girls' nannies and taking the nannies all over. Can you imagine the type of low down, disgusting person you have to be to have an affair with your children's caregiver. Not only do they have to know that things are going bad between mom and dad, but a nanny, someone they look at as a parental figure, is out of their life because they also betrayed their trust and was having an affair with their father. Ben Affleck is a piece of stuff, but listen to this interesting story that JLo's putting back that speaks about the co-parenting relationship between Jennifer Garner, Ben Affleck, but she lets you know that there's really something wrong with those kids. And as much as JLo, and especially Ben Affleck, is trying to make sure that his kids have a very, very healthy, normal life in his eyes, I do think this might be, because the story keeps coming up, the straw that breaks the camel's back, because those kids are not content. And why JLo is happy to make bonds and then break them, we'll talk about that. Alex Rodriguez talked about it. Let's talk about how Ben doesn't seem to be able to make that same thing. All right, let's get in. Jennifer Lopez describes co-parenting with Ben Affleck's ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, right? Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck have an amazing co-parenting relationship with his ex-wife, Jennifer Garner. The singer told Vogue in December, right, in the December cover story that was published last Tuesday, JLo said this, that her husband and Garner work well together while raising Violet, Serafina, and Samuel. Great, right? But here's where it gets juicy. JLo shares the 2 children of her own, right? Okay, so I'm going ahead. Woo, there's so much juice. Hold on. JLo literally shares that even though like she has 2 children of her own, she says blending their families since their July wedding needs to be handled with so much care. They have so many feelings. They're teens, but it's going really, really well so far. I will say this again, where there's smoke, there's fire. The one common theme through all this is the kids are not adjusting to their father marrying a woman at record speed, but not even that. Jennifer's kids are not adjusting well either. And why is that, right? I'll get into it in a second, but listen to what else she says. What I hope to cultivate with our family is that his kids have a new ally in me, and my kids have a new ally in him. Someone who really loves and cares about them, but can have a different perspective and help me see things that I can't see with my kids because I'm so emotionally tied up. Now, page 6 is shady, and they say the duo got engaged for the second time in April, 2 decades after Affleck first got down on one knee. The dancer was previously engaged to Alex Rodriguez from 2019 to 2021. Woo! Now, here's where I think the problem is. Alex, as you know, is father to daughters Natasha and Ella, 17 and 14. And they had blended their family completely before calling it quits. That's right. Part of the reason why it might be that JLo's kids are having so much trouble in adjustment is prior to her jumping into that whirlwind relationship with Ben, they had been quarantining and hanging around and bonded with their 2 new sisters, which was Alex Rodriguez's kids. They were living as one under the same house as a family, and they were super, super tight. Jennifer was going on and on about how she loved them, they're her daughters, all this stuff. As soon as things fell apart with Alex, and I'm not faulting Jennifer, because Alex did cheat on her, and he was untrustworthy. But what I am criticizing is the way she completely, poof, disappeared from those kids' lives. She even said in a thing, they don't have contact anymore. They only talk through social media and maybe an email for birthday wishes. This is a woman that said that she was your mother, doing everything with you. You were quarantining with them the whole pandemic, day in and day out. She was your mother. You had a stepsister and brother. And just like that, because Alex disappointed her, poof, she disappeared, all that. And they no longer have any type of meaningful contact, right? She said, I was so loving. Jennifer goes on to say, I was so loving to his kids, and he was so loving and accepting of mine, and they embraced each other right away. This was what she said in December 2018 of People magazine about Alex's love for her children and her love for Alex's children. I was so loving to his kids, and he was so loving and accepting of mine. And again, all the kids embraced each other right away. Again, they had shared heritage, right? They were both Latino, both, pioneers in their film. And not only that, I think the kids just got along. Plus, this was the first serious relationship after their mom, Jennifer, left their dad. Jennifer said about Alex's kids, I get a new bonus brother and sisters to hang out with all the time, and it's so nice. Alex chimed in, our kids have become best friends, and that keeps us both grounded and appreciative. We couldn't have asked for anything better than the four of them getting along. Woo! And from that, poof, she dumped Alex, dumped those kids, ran the Ben, and then said, this is your new daddy, and even made a public post thanking Ben for being the best father he could to those kids, without even asking the kids, how do you think that makes you feel when you have a father that you love very much? Now, again, there might be more to the story between JLO and Mark Anthony and why she did that. But I think we can all agree that a man that she had been dating 20 years ago, before those kids were even alive or even a thought, that humiliated her, mocked her, basically left her at the altar and hooked up with a woman that he had had an emotional connection and fell in love with, she was still engaged to JLO. I'm talking about with Jennifer Garner. If you want details, go look at the old videos. You're now coming back and saying what? You're now coming back and saying that you're now trying to blend these families. You didn't even ask your kids for permission, Ben. You asked JLO to marry you and then popped up. You guys, keep an eye on this. I do wish JLO the best. I think she deserves so much happiness. I think she deserves better than Ben. And once again, I think Ben is just taking her around the ringer, using her, but we'll see where the chips land. Anyway, my little tentacles, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you later. Bye.